Welcome to the Russian city of Tyumen. Each year this country stages one of the Grand Slams on the International Judo Federation's world circuit, and this year its host would be Tyumen. No stranger to top-level judo, the city has once again pulled out all the stops to host this event, and the crowds inside the Tyumen Athletic Centre were treated to a feast of top-level sport after an impressive opening ceremony had concluded. Following some final words from Tyumen's governor, Mr. Vladimir Yakushev, the event was ready to begin. In 6 weeks' time, judo will return to Russia and settle in nearby Chelyabinsk for the World Championships. So for would-be contenders in Tyumen, this was a fantastic opportunity to acclimatise and get a confidence boost fighting on Russian soil. From the entries on show at the draw, it was clear that the judo powerhouse of Brazil was treating Tyumen as an important warm-up event, since they'd sent all of their top judo competitors. Also in the list, however, was some of Japan's talented judo crop. Which of these two judo nations would dominate in Tyumen? First up for Brazil was their most treasured female fighter, reigning Olympic champion Menezes. Last year on home turf in Rio, Menezes won her third World Championship bronze medal, to the rapture of the Carioca faithful. A good result, but the Olympic champion had come for gold. Now, once again, she uses the Russian Grand Slam as a final preparation event for the Worlds. But the winner last year in Moscow almost went out in the first round, as she left it to the very last second to launch an Uchimata attack, which would see her through against Russia's Dolgova. A close call for Menezes. But in the semi-final she looked more emphatic, leaving no questions as to her gold medal credentials when she threw Italy's Moscat with a superb speedy Seoinage. Her opponent in the final would be Japan's Yamagishi. She had been ruthless on the ground on her way to the final, dispatching Menezes' former teammate Lima, now representing Guinea-Bissau in the semi-final. Would it be Brazil or Japan that would hit the ground running in Tyumen? Wow, crowd really waiting for this one. This should be a great one. Menezes, the Olympic champion, struggled in her first match, but really coming to form now. Yamagishi always dangerous though. Left-handed fighting. Oh! It's all over! Look how emotional Menezes is! That was absolutely amazing. Talk about opportune judo. Diashibarai. Front foot she caught, swept Yamagishi, and Yamagishi goes flat on her back. And the contest hadn't even begun. That was amazing stuff. Real opportune judo from the Olympic champion. And she came good in the end. Is this going to give her the confidence going into the World Championships? And can she win that elusive world title?
No final, eu fiquei muito alegre também. Eu não imaginava
the final went really well. I never imagined it would be over so quickly. I expected a much tougher fight, but after only a few seconds, I managed to catch her with a foot sweep. This medal will help me by giving me confidence and strength. But I think the most important thing is the confidence.
At under 78 kilograms, Brazil made it 2 female golds as world number 6 Aguilar topped the podium. Judo fans inside the arena and worldwide had hope for a dream final, as the opposite side of the draw saw Olympic champion Harrison make it through to the final. Meanwhile, Aguilar was on fire, first of all displaying fancy footwork against Russian and Japanese opposition to reach the semi-final. And there, thrown with a low driving Oguruma, which took real skill to execute. However, the showdown between Aguilar and Harrison wasn't to be, as the American had picked up an injury and decided not to risk the final. It meant Aguilar collected gold by default, a result that moved her up to world number 3 going into the World Championships. At under 70 kilograms, the world number 1 was in action. Polling failed to capture gold last year in Rio and was here in Tyumen looking ready to right the wrong in Chelyabinsk as she took on Canada's Zupancic in the final. With a minute gone, the Canadian tried her luck, coming over the top to threaten the Dutch woman. But the world number 1 wasn't going to be cowed and responded with a huge counter-attack to land Zupancic on her side for a wazari. As the contest progressed, Polling suffered a scare. Zupancic caught her napping and launched an ouchigari attack which almost leveled things up. Polling spinning out at the last second to keep the score down to a yuko. She then held on to see the belt through and secure the top spot. And as a relief, Polling once again sported gold. The question on everyone's lips was who can stop her in Chelyabinsk. The last person to do so was with her on the podium, wearing bronze. Japan's Arai beat Polling back in December and swept away China's Shen with a fantastic uchimata to win her medal. Early reports suggest that Arai hasn't been selected to fight at the World Championships. After her display in Tyumen, many inside the Japanese camp will be asking why not. At under 57 kilograms, it was 2 golds in as many weeks for the category's new young prospect, Tyumen Pinard of Canada. The youngster was on point just 1 week ago in Ulaanbaatar, taking her first Grand Prix gold. Here in Tyumen, she faced off against Olympic and world medalist Malloy of the USA. As the Canadian took on her North American rival, she showed why she has so much promise, refusing to be dominated and out-gripping the more experienced Malloy. A single penalty to the American was enough to settle things in favour of Canada, as Tyumen Pinard collected her first Grand Slam gold and announced herself as a serious contender for Chelyabinsk. At under 52 kilograms, the Japanese got their first gold medal in Tyumen as former world champion Nakamura continued her world circuit comeback after a 2-year break. Despite shock defeat at the Olympic Games, Nakamura was the favourite for gold in London and showed why in her semi-final as she took down Romania's Shitu and quickly went to work on the ground to secure a pin and progress to the final. There she took on Russia's Rizova in a tense contest which saw the Japanese dominate but failed to land a score. Still, her attacks paid off as Rizova conceded numerous penalties, shifting the result in favour of Nakamura and Japan. A welcome return to a world circuit podium for the former world number 1. In the heaviest female category of over 78 kilograms, the travelling Japanese fans once again saluted their national anthem as Yamabe came through the pack to take gold. She had produced a great moment en route to the final against China's Gao. As Gao attacked, Yamabe was waiting and sidestepped before sending her opponent crashing to the mat for the ippon. Uchimata Sekeishin, one of judo's most classy counterattacks, perfectly executed here in Tyumen. In the final, she was equally decisive, hooking onto the outside of her Korean opponent's leg and driving forward to land judo's killer blow, the ippon. A great performance from Yamabe. And in a final female weight of under 63 kilograms, Japan were gunning for gold again. This time with world number 4 Abbey taking to the tatami. The category saw the entry of the reigning world champion Gerbi, but since striking gold a year ago in Rio, the Israeli has been off the pace and fell foul of a pinning technique courtesy of Abbey's teammate Osura in Tyumen. Gerbi will have to find her form again fast if she wants to retain her title in Chelyabinsk. Abbey, on the other hand, was looking strong. Groundwork was her weapon of choice in her opening bout as she breezed past Swede Hermansson. She then threw for ippon with this perfectly executed Osotogari in her semi-final matchup against Russia's Surikatova. Equally dangerous, however, was her opponent in the final, Valkova. Fighting on home soil gave the Russian an extra edge, as she took out a Sumi with this drop shoulder throw before catching Korea's Park with a predatory arm lock to book a place in the final with Abbey. But would it be Valkova or Abbey laughing last for Tyumen? Well, Abbey certainly on good form and, well, got great support in the crowd. Valkova, though, having the day of her life. Left-handed fight to Abbey. And she's going to disappear underneath Valkova if Valkova's not careful. Too much pressure, but coming forwards. Abbey set. Can she get the line? Yes, she can. Uchimata. Action-reaction at its best. Valkova pushed forward just too much, and, well, the support says yes, that's how you do it. Uchimata fed it through, gets the lift, gets the elevation. Valkova will learn from that because you can't keep pushing without getting a reaction. And, well, Abbey disappeared underneath for a perfectly executed Uchimata and gets another gold medal for Japan. It's been Brazil, Japan, all the way with the medals. Who's going to come out on top in the end? Moving across to the men, and at under 73 kilograms, there was something for the home crowd to cheer as Russia's Yartsev contested the final. He had booked his place there courtesy of this persistent groundwork attack, which culminated in a submission from a Jujikatami armbar. The final against Brazil's Continental was a much tighter affair, but Yartsev set a higher pace and put enough pressure on his opponent to edge the bout on penalties. A gold for the home nation to ignite the crowd in Tyumen. Yartsev, the hero of the hour. At under 100 kilograms, the man on form was Canada's junior world champion Reyes. The youngster has taken to senior judo like a duck to water. And in Tyumen, he took the fight to his more experienced opposition, scoring 2 ippons with Uchimata along his way to the final. But there he would face an Azerbaijani who hadn't read the script. Gazimov came out a man possessed and harassed the young Canadian. Time after time he attacked, and time after time it was only Reyes' reflexes that stopped him going for the full point. Usually a lackluster performer, Gazimov had found something extra in Tyumen. Despite not managing to throw Reyes, came out a convincing winner on penalty points. Disappointment for Reyes, but great work from Gazimov. At under 60 kilograms, Japan's male team were also on the mark, as Kata topped the podium in Tyumen. In another Brazil versus Japan matchup, he took on Olympic bronze medalist Kata in the final. But sadly for Brazil, Kata had no answer for Kata, who conceded 2 penalties to lose the match and give the gold to the Japanese. Advantage Japan. At under 90 kilograms, there was a second goal for Japan, this time through one of their journeymen, Yoshida. In his semi-final, he upset the apple cart when he took out home favourite Suleiman. As the Russian put everything he had into an attack, Yoshida jumped forward to over-rotate him onto his own back. His opponent in the final was Uzbek Choriev, who obviously hadn't been paying attention as he fell victim to the exact same counter-attack. Ride and roll. A wazaru for Yoshida. More gold for the Japanese faithful in Tyumen to cheer. Brazil's biggest hope of 2014 world gold in the men's weights is Penalva. The world number 5 at under 81 kg produced a stunning opening contest hip-hop against Austria's Alt. In his second fight, a lightning-fast drop shoulder throw was the decisive score against Russia's Kokovic. Penalba saved his best moment for the semi-final against Canada's Olympic bronze medalist Valois Fortier. With just 10 seconds gone, the Brazilian struck. An awesome surprise attack that ended the contest before it even started. Stevens, the world number 4 from the USA, was looking typically bullish on the other side of the draw. After a Nippon scoring pin in his first fight, he smashed his way past home favourite Shmakov with a huge Shiguruma. In the semi-final, another Russian, Cadets, was lying in wait. He attacked first, scoring a Yuko against Stevens. But the American charged back into the contest, scoring a Yuko of his own and sending the contest into golden score. Both the fighters were on the front foot, with any score now decisive. It was ultimately this attack that cost Stevens, as the referee penalised him for not attacking. He was out. Penalba only had one thing in his mind, and that was to win his last tournament before the World Championships next month. The final would be his. He gave Kubetsov little time and continued with his attacking brand of judo. And when the Russian attacked himself, Penalba was onto him in a flash, circling and countering his opponent backwards for a wazari. Penalba is ready for the Worlds and is aiming high. At over 100 kilograms, world number 2 silver added to Brazil's male medal tally. In his final, he avenged Kitadai's defeat at under 60 kilograms when he outgripped Japan's Ojitani. The Japanese couldn't find an answer for the sheer size of Silva and was forced to concede defeat due to penalty points. A good day's work for Silva. But in our final category of under 66 kilograms, the future of Brazilian judo was in action. Chibana is one of the nation's most dynamic judo stylists. Last year's Russian Grand Slam in Moscow saw his arrival on the world circuit as he took his opposition to pieces in an emphatic gold medal winning performance. He has the ability to throw for Ippon at any moment, and the Pan American champion has fast become a fan favourite. His flowing attacking judo could well see him in the hunt for gold in 1 month's time in Chelyabinsk. But first he needs to get some momentum, and Tyumen was the perfect opportunity. And he failed to disappoint, as Russian soil was once again proving to be a great stomping ground for the exciting young Brazilian. In his semi-final against Japan's Fukuoka, he showed his judo brain. After an initial dropping shoulder throw scored a wazari, he knew that Fukuoka would expect it the second time. So he attacked using a grip that nobody would expect him to use for a shoulder throw, and ran through for the second wazari and the place in the final. Pure class from this sensational fighter. Lining up to take on Chibana in the final was Japan's Rokugu. The Brazil-Japan rivalry would come to a head here. But Chibana would have to exercise caution with Rokugu, as the Japanese fighter showed just how deadly he can be when he capitalised on a moment of weakness from Russia's Lavrentiev to trap him into a strangle. He then produced a beautiful piece of judo against another Russian, Ardenov, in the semi-final. With technique like this, he could most definitely spoil Chibana's day. But beating opponents like him is what all champions need to learn how to do, and Brazil have faith that Chibana is up to the task. Rokugu versus Chibana. Japan against Brazil. Who would come out on top? Well, this should be an absolute cracker. Chibana, one of the biggest throwers at under 66 kilograms, and he's on blistering form. Rokugo, though, he is a big thrower as well, so it should be a great match. Well, Brazil and Japan have been head-to-head this whole tournament. They're the ones leading the medals. Who's going to come out on top here? Chibana in white. Rokugo will want to avenge the defeat of his fellow teammate. Look at that, it's going to be an Uranagi. Uranagi! Oh, that was huge. And Chibana shows how it's going to be. And Rokugo will now be afraid, I'm sure of it. Look at that, arm around the waist, look at the lift. Uses the leg for assistance as well. And just readjusts those feet right the way underneath his opponent. Brilliant stuff there from the Brazilian. He can throw forwards, but he can counter-attack as well. And that's what makes him brilliant. Can he do it? Chelyabinsk is just looming, and could he win his first world title? Chibana wants the sleeve. Has an Uchimata, has a Seoinage, has an Ashiwaza. Now then, is it going to be Newaza as well? Rokugo has to do something. Sound advice there from the Brazilian coach. Doesn't need to rush it. He's got so much technique. Now it's going to happen again. Can he readjust? Yes, he can! He readjusted that time. And he scores the biggest hit-on with Uranagi, and that was massive. And Rokugo, well, he felt it from the first moment of the contest, and there it was. He had to readjust that back leg. Look at it there. It goes on the outside, then he gets the lift, and he just keeps control of the upper part of the body, and he absolutely buries the Japanese, and he can't get up from it. Has great control round the middle, round the centre, uses the head. Look how he sends the head back. And he uses the leg as well to assist him over. And that was massive. Both his feet came off the ground. That shows commitment. And now he's got to be going into the World Championships very, very confident that he can win the big one. To be world and Olympic champion is his main objective, and he has every chance of doing it.
Fico muito feliz, né, porque ano passado
I'm very happy because everything started
foi onde
here
tudo
last year.
Começou, né, porque
I had a low rank,
bem
but I won
atrás
here
do
in
ranking.
Moscow and started climbing up the
Então, ganhei em
rankings.
Moscou ano
It's
passado,
good preparation for
então
a
subi
World
bastante
Championship.
e pude fazer uma preparação
This
muito
year,
boa para o
I
Mundial.
had the joy of winning
Esse ano
again.
tive a
I'm very
felicidade
happy in Russia.
de ganhar de
I
novo.
always do
Então fico
well.
muito contente pela Rússia dar sempre certo para mim. Eu já
I was
estava
just
esperando
waiting
que
for my
o
Japanese
atleta
opponent
japonês
to raise
fosse
his
subir a
hand.
mão. Então, como a
Uranagi is a
técnica que eu
technique
sei
that I
fazer
can
bem,
do well.
Uranagi,
I did sumo wrestling
porque
since I
eu
was a
treino,
child, so I have a good
faço
base.
sumo desde
I was just
criança,
waiting for the
então
right
eu tenho uma
time to
base
throw
muito
him
boa.
grip on.
Então eu esperei o momento certo para poder jogar de pão. Então
This is part of my
é
preparation
uma
for the
preparação
World Championships.
que vai só me
I'm training
acrescentar
with
para
a
o Mundial.
focus on
Então quer dizer
Chelyabinsk,
que
and I'm
os
working hard
treinamentos que eu
and
venho
training
fazendo
well.
vão dando certo,
The
sempre
gold
focando
medal I
no
won
Mundial.
here was
Então
no
essa medalha
accident.
de ouro não veio por acaso.
So it's goodbye from Tyumen, but not from Russia. As in 6 weeks' time, judo returns to Chelyabinsk for its flagship event, the World Championships. Russian soil will play host to the emotion and drama of the very highest level of judo, as its top athletes leave it all on the mat when they battle it out to become world champions. Be sure to join us there for plenty of judo fireworks.